that can find God in the twist of a rainbow, that hears Paul is dead when a Beatles song is played backward. The same intricate human mind that makes sense of the nonsensical is the human mind that can believe and make psychic. So how do I play the game? Good swamp witches are good detectives. I pay attention to how the things I say affect the client. A dilation of pupils, an intake of breath. I plant clues with the words I choose. For example, I might say to Mrs. Langham, "Today, I'm going to present a memory you're thinking of." And then I start talking about a holiday. And lo and behold, that turns out to be exactly what she's thinking about. The word present is already lurking in the back of her mind. So whether or not she realizes it, I've just cued her to think about a time she received a gift, which means she's remembering a birthday, or maybe Christmas. Just like that, it looks like I've read her mind. I take note of flickers of disappointment when I say something that doesn't make sense to her, so I know to back off and head in another direction. I look at how she is dressed and how she speaks, and I make assumptions about her upbringing. I ask questions, and half the time, the client gives me the answer I'm looking for. I'm getting a B. Did your grandfather's name begin with that letter? No. Could it be a P? My grandfather's name was Paul. And bingo. If I don't get enough information from the client, I have two options. Either I can go positive, create a message from someone dead that anyone in their right mind would want to hear, such as, "Your grandfather wants you to know that he's at peace, and he wants you to be at peace too." Or I can Barnum the client, with a comment that would apply to 99% of the population, but that she is bound to interpret personally. "Your grandfather knows you like to make decisions carefully, but feels that occasionally you rush to judgment." Then I sit back and let the client feed me more rope I can run with. You'd be surprised how people feel the need to fill in all the gaps in the conversation. Does this make me a con man? I guess that's one way to look at it. I prefer to think of myself as Darwinian. I'm adapting so that I can survive. Today, however, has been an absolute disaster. I lost a good client, my grandmother's scrying bowl, and my composure, all within the past hour, thanks to a scrawny kid and a rusty bicycle. Jenna Metcalf was not, as she said, older than she looked. Christ, she probably still believed in the tooth fairy. But she was as powerful as a giant black hole, sucking me back into the nightmare of the McCoy scandal. "I don't do missing people," I told her, and I meant it. It's one thing to fake a message from a deceased husband. It's another thing entirely to give false hope to someone who needs closure. You know where that kind of behavior gets you? Living above a bar in Crabville, New Hampshire, and spending every Thursday collecting unemployment benefits. I like being a fraud.